There are places in this world where the walls remember, where the air grows thick with whispers of the past. Tonight, I take you on a journey into darkness. 5 houses so cursed, so filled with unspeakable horror, that even the bravest souls refuse to cross their thresholds. We're talking about places where the veil is thin, where the living and the dead walk side by side. Turn off the light and listen closely, because some doors should never be opened. It was a quiet night in Amityville, New York, until it wasn't. 6 gunshots rang through the DeFeo home, one after another, piercing the silence like the screams of the damned. When the sun rose, a horrifying truth emerged. The entire family had been slaughtered in their beds, each one shot in the head, their bodies eerily undisturbed. A year later, the Lutz family moved in, unaware that they were stepping into a nightmare. Almost immediately, the house turned against them. They said the house spoke to them, demonic voices whispering in the dead of night. A monstrous voice bellowed from the darkness, "Get out!" And they did, fleeing the house in terror after only 28 days, leaving behind their belongings and their sanity. In Australia, an old Victorian mansion stands alone, brooding atop a hill like a predator watching its prey. The Monte Cristo Homestead has a history stained with blood. Its owner, Mrs. Crawley, was so consumed by grief after her husband's death that she never left the house again, not even once, for 23 years. Local legend says she waited for him to return, but all that greeted her was darkness and death. When she finally died, the house did not let go. Visitors report her presence still lingers, sometimes seen as a dark figure at the top of the staircase, sometimes heard whispering in the dead of night. A stable boy burned alive is still heard screaming from the stables. A maid, pushed to her death from the balcony, is seen falling again and again in an endless loop of terror. And a baby, torn from its mother's arms by unseen hands, was found dead, its tiny body covered in claw marks. No one knows what dark force feeds off the misery in Monte Cristo, but one thing is certain: it is still hungry. Chapter 3. The Myrtles Plantation, where evil grows. Deep in the swamps of Louisiana, the Myrtles Plantation sits like a tombstone for the living. Beneath its grand columns and ivy-covered walls, something malevolent stirs. The story begins with Chloe, a slave who was accused of poisoning her master's family. As punishment, she was hanged from a tree, her lifeless body swaying in the wind. They say she was buried on the grounds, and her rage continues to this day. Her shadow drifts through the halls, her eyes hollow, her whispers brushing against visitors' ears. Photographs capture her figure, standing in doorways, her expression frozen in torment. But she's only one of the spirits trapped here. Guests have seen the ghosts of children running, heard their laughter turn into agonized screams. At night, the mirrors reflect not the living, but the dead. It is said that those who sleep here do not sleep alone. Something watches, something waits, forever waiting for his next victim. Chapter 5. Loftus Hall, Gateway to Hell. There is a legend in Ireland whispered among those who dare to speak of it: a stormy night, a mysterious visitor. the walls, doors creak open, even when bolted shut, and at night a woman's tormented screams pierce the silence, as if trapped in eternal terror. No priest, no exorcist has been able to rid the house of its presence, and so it waits for its next visitor. Some houses are abandoned for a reason. These places, they hold on to something dark, something sinister. Some doors should never be opened, and some are watching, waiting, hoping for the next soul foolish enough to step inside. The question is, would you? Tell me in the comments, would you dare spend a night in one of these haunted houses? Or is there another place even more terrifying that should be on this list? Until next time, sleep well, if you can.